All right, last but not least, we are on the systems page, and this is where we can both customize our habits and rewards, as well as checking and seeing all of the databases we have available. This is, if you like, the main control room for the tracker. This is the page that you'll come to really make it your own and make it feel like it's made for you as opposed to the template that you're going to start with. When you first set up, you're probably going to spend a little bit of time here in customize and retire habits and rewards. At first, before you actually start logging anything, you can edit and overwrite all of these as much as you want to. It's not really going to change anything for you. As you receive the template, there won't be any logs in the history or any points. So you'll be able to basically, if I wanted to come in and change this to feed the cat and change the description, for example, then I could do that. But then as soon as you actually start using the system and start logging it, you don't want to do that anymore. You don't want to just delete items or overwrite them, because that will probably mess up with your points and your statistics and your analytics, and it might completely mess your points total. So let's not do that. Instead, we can come in here and we can hide old habits and rewards by using the Archive Me button. And then you can restore these at any time as well by coming into this reactivate toggle down below, and it'll show you any habits or rewards that you've archived. And if you have done so, it'll have a little button here to say restore or reactivate me. And then that way, at least you can just hide them from your current view while not messing up any of your stats. So to start off with, in the habits editor, here you can add or edit any habits you want. And this is where you set up the bones of your tracker. The amount of points that you get for logging an activity depends on their difficulty and whether they're repeatable. So for every habit that you add, let's add a new one to home and chores. And probably the easiest way to add will be, if you want to add a brand new habit, is just to come up to the top right hand here and use the down arrow next to new. I've got a couple of templates here for you that just put them in the right category essentially, but it's perfectly fine for you to do that yourself just by coming into the category that you want here, and you can just open the page up to edit directly if you really want to as well. In order to get your habits to track scores properly, all you really need are the main pieces of information: how difficult they are, whether they're repeatable, and so that they display properly what category they're in. So let's say we want to add a new item to home and chores. I'm going to add mow the lawn. How about that? And we're going to make that, let's make it look like a little potted plant. You can use whatever color you want. I've been typically using colors that match the category, but that's really up to you. You can add a description here to say what that actually is. And then from there on, we have a difficulty. And most habits you add will probably be standard difficulty. So if something is really easy to do, like I've got here, tidying my desk at the end of the day is a fairly light task. Making the bed in the morning is a light task. But then other things like doing a whole load of laundry, as in washing, drying, and putting away, could be standard or difficult, I suppose, depending on your perspective. But mowing the lawn, for me to do, would be pretty hard. Is it repeatable, as in, can you complete this habit more than once per day? I mean, I could with mow the lawn, but I'm probably not going to, so I'm not going to put that in there. For something, however, like doing a 15-minute cleanup, I would put in there that that's repeatable, because I could do that a number of times in a day. For brushing my teeth, I can do that a number of times in the day. People might want to track things like drinking a glass of water or anything at all that you want. That's really all you need in order to make these work. And if I go now to our habit tracker and check under the catalog, you will see mow the lawn now shows that. So it's really simple to add whatever you need to get set up. I'll start you off with a few basic templates, and then of course you can come in and change their difficulty and whether they're repeatable. You can move around. You could put this into a different category if you wanted to, whatever suits you best. If something makes sense in another category, put it in another category. That's all there really is for habits, and then you can go through and just do that as you please. And then very similarly for the rewards, you have an editor here as well. I've got kind of categories of rewards, but you could get really specific here, and you can add very specific rewards depending on what you want. You choose the cost. You choose the category. The category is just there for if it helps you to organize pages later on. A couple of notes and a thumbnail. The thumbnail will show up in the shop just to make it look pretty. And that's really all there is. If you want to archive anything, and again, at the beginning, you can just edit these freely. It's not going to matter. But as soon as you start logging habits and spending on rewards, you probably just want to archive anything that you're not using anymore. And then so say if I've logged a chocolate bar reward and then I want to get rid of that reward, I'd archive it because it will still keep the old purchases of that reward. Again, choose whatever points you want. It's all subjective. It's all depending on what you feel is fitting for each reward. So this is the main bones. This is where you set up how everything applies to you and make it so that everything fits you and the way that you live. These 7 categories should be pretty much enough for everything. But of course, if you're a power user with Notion, then you're free to add more categories and do whatever you like there. And if you want to reactivate habits or rewards, you come just below. And then down at the bottom, this is just where I'm housing all of the databases used in this tool. And there's a little description of each one so that you know what they're all used for. You can go in and take a look at them in their raw form, however you like. I suppose one that you might want to go into at the very beginning is the profile, and you may want to change the name that comes up. Apart from that, this profile page is really only used to track statistics so that it will show up in your stat cards across the tracker. But these descriptions tell you everything that's done in each database, and you can go through as a power user again and you can change anything up you want to. So say, for example, if you wanted to customize the way your ledgers looked, you'd come into the ledger and you can see I've got your template set up for every day of the week. And that's how I have just a different image show on Monday and Tuesday. I just like it showing me the day because I often forget what day it is, because of course I do. That's about it. So that should have taken you now through all of the 4 main sections of this tool. Hopefully at this point you'll feel more comfortable with using it. If there are any tutorial blocks or anything that you still want to get rid of and clean up and edit, do whatever you like with it at this point. It's all yours to play with as you see fit. If you enjoy the template, I'd love to hear from you. If you don't enjoy the template, I need to hear from you. If you have any feedback at all, feel free to get in touch with me on TikTok, or you should have my email now too. And yeah, I hope that this is useful to you. I hope that you enjoy using it, and I would love to hear what you think. Thanks so much. Bye.